We have in studios with us Miss Zeeta Maharaj, aka Mama Z, plus size model, media personality, event host, and motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping by tonight again.
Thanks. I'm excited. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And may I add that you are gorgeous. I've never seen someone as beautiful. Like, I was staring at you and I was like,
hey,
wow.
Mom, did you hear that?
Jealous of Mom.
Your skin. She's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. You also developed a passion for Canadian music.
Yeah.
We heard, and you became sort of an advocate for Canadian artists. How would you describe the Montreal scene, overall music scene?
I think I became this quote-unquote advocate for it because the timing for me was right to be that person. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was hosting a radio program that was 5 hours long. And when I developed it, I was able to put a full hour of Canadian music. Right now, when you guys do your radio show, you have to play, I believe it's 33% of Canadian music. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I did that and then some. I did a full hour within that 5 hour span, whereas it should have just been like, a certain segment. So that to me was awesome because I got the opportunity to put people on for the first time, or to show somebody that, there's somebody who's willing to listen to you, and that there's somebody who's willing to let your specific talent be heard. Yeah. Because if my thing was speaking, I want to be able to be heard as many places as possible. Who am I to say that your thing, your gift of rapping or singing or your art can't be heard? That would be unfair to me. And we are very much, a copycat country in terms of we want to jump on Americanisms, which is what we do. This is how we're taught. So of course we're going to play American music because it's going to pay bills. It's going to bring in money, and the money has to generate to pay us. So at the end of the day, it makes sense to play American music, but who's going to support us if we don't support us? Fundamentally, if that's how I thought about things, that's how I live my life, mm-hmm. right? Like you put somebody on so that way that person can rise up too. So
and become the best them and advance.
But it's cool too because every time you hear yourself and you do a playback and you listen to the show or you listen to a track you released, you hear things about it that you really like and things you want to change, myself included. When I first started radio, I was talking super, super fast, and I thought that was my thing, but nobody could really understand what I was saying until I stopped and I checked myself and I went back and I listened. So I learned that for me. So why wouldn't I learn or help somebody else see that, So mm-hmm. I was really, really excited when I got the full hour for strictly CanCon, and the music was good, and it doesn't just mean local Montreal. Mm-hmm. I was playing artists that were doing things that people maybe hadn't heard at the time, so a lot of people were reaching out to me to get me their tracks, which was really awesome. And how do I feel about the local music scene was your second question. Mm-hmm. I'm divided, and I say that because I haven't been around it as much as I was back then. Okay. Right? So I'm divided in terms of the music that I hear of or from friends of mine that I still see grinding and I still think are doing a good job. Mm-hmm. And their production game has gone up. Their skills, their talent level, their overall production, their beat, their track, it's definitely gotten better than where we were 10 years ago, mm-hmm. without a doubt. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the new kids as much as I did when I was really doing the same thing. So I do know that there's a lot more hype. I do know that there's a lot more accessibility, and it's because there's Facebook and there's Twitter, so you can let people hear your music sooner and faster, so you can really pump out more tracks. That's cool, and I think people are hungry. When the artist is hungry, people will hear him, So I see this hunger, and there's a few kids. I went to Bourbon Street one time, and I was really, really impressed with the talent. There was a lot of kids that I didn't know from before, and I was like, yo, they're coming with it. They have a flow, they have talent, and there's people that are making music videos. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Lablois is making music videos for a whole bunch of people. So if they're making music videos, that means there has to be somebody who wants that, and they're making quality product, and so is the music.
Who's on Mama Z's top 5 playlist? Like, what's on your iPod? What are you listening to right now?
Okay, so does it have to in terms of local or an overall?
Top 5 you're always playing back.
I just came back from Carnival in Toronto, so I'm just listening to soca strictly right now, right? Okay. I got a whole bunch of soca going on in my head. Soca.
You can play with track.
Right. I'm fully on the soca vibes, and the soca this year is so nice, right? So I'm listening to a lot of soca. I had a really great time at Sade, so I've been listening to a lot of Sade lately. And my top 5, believe it or Not Chem, the chemistry album.
Okay.
Intimacy. It's a wonderful album.
Wow.
I really, really like it. I've been listening to it a lot. I also, I'm really looking forward to the new Jill Scott. So I've been listening to her new singles and all these types of things.
Coming soon.
I don't listen to a lot of hip hop, but I did listen to most of the Jay-Z and Kanye album today when I could. And
you had a chance? I didn't even get a
I got a chance to listen to some of it. I was working, so I couldn't really do too much.
Peter was checking it out earlier.
So that was cool. That was a good look. So was that 5? I think it's kind of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
It's kind of.
So you got your soul, your hip hop.
Yeah. For sure.
Great.
A little bit of everything.
What about me? Everyone's looking into my direction. I'm receiving like tons of text messages and Twitter posts as you speak.
Oh, for real?
About people saying to say hi, to shout you out.
So that's sweet.
Hold on, I have a specific message here. I just need to find it.
Okay.
It's from a former host here named Preach and Cobia.
Right.
Preach.
Yes.
Hey.
Who says, for one, please speak about the dreams and goal settings workshops that you do for troubled teens.
Okay.
That's one message.
All right.
And he'd also like to say that he attributes a lot of his success to you. So thank you.
That's really sweet. I hope somebody's taping this. This is like the greatest interview so far ever. I have to say that Preach tells me that from time to time, and it really humbles me because he was given the opportunity, like we spoke about. He's one of those artists that sticks out in my head because I believe on Vibrations on K103 was the first time he got to hear his music. And that's such a proud moment, not only for him, but for me, because I was the person, the catalyst who allowed that to happen. And now you hear his music everywhere. He was just...
The video.
His video's doing really, really well. Honestly, Preach, I'm really proud of you, and everybody who's grinding like you, just don't stop because it pays off. And that also shows that he's been doing it for a minute. That was almost 10 years ago, if not. You know what I mean? So that's just dedication. As much as we all love what we do, if you don't keep with it, then how are you going to, fulfill what your destiny is? So good looking out to him. He's always been a huge supporter of what I do. Yeah, he's always bigged me up, and I respect and appreciate that for sure. And the first part was the workshops.
Yes.
I also work with students. I also am a work study animator, and I work with youth, and my specific job requires me to work with kids in a capacity to help rehabilitate them and or get them focused towards vocational training. So they won't go on to college or university. Their academics aren't strong enough, but we do want to rehabilitate them and get them prepared for high school, for post-high school, post-secondary, so into the jobs. So resume writing and all these types of things. So what was really cool is I kind of relate to them. I'm young enough, I'm not like close to retirement. I'm still, they might call me mama, but you know what I mean? Like I'm not one of those people that's unrelatable to them. So we talk, we speak about music. The kids are like, Miss Wheezy rules. I'm like, let me tell you a few things, So we talk about a bunch of things, and in doing so, I also got the opportunity to bring out some of my inspirations and people in the city that I have a lot of love for, and a lot of people that are doing great things, to draw on them to talk to these kids as well. I did workshops also, but it's really important to highlight that this community, we spoke about community, and this community is so wonderful that when you're good with the community is good with you. And so when you see the good that people are doing, you want to highlight that to other people. And I got some of the most amazing friends of mine to come through and give these workshops as to how they become successful in their own right. And I also got the chance to do it, and it's life altering because you sound really accomplished. Like on paper, you just do you just do what you do well, and that's the end of it. You don't do things for name and fame. But when a kid comes to you afterwards like, Miss, I looked at your website and I really want to watch what you do, that's awesome. So motivational speeches is something that I've just recently started doing, but it's almost like an extension of me, because I just tell them about my story and we keep working with my story, and it's nothing dramatic, it's nothing traumatic, it's just me focusing on trying to build me, and they can relate.
Speaking of accomplishments, one big accomplishment that maybe not everybody got to see, but you were a co-host on CJNT's Channel 14 for people who had cable, Soul Call, with Peter Anthony Holder. So how did that come across? That
came about in the most blessed way. It was in 2008, and they say 08, like it was a lucky time. I remember, Mom, I signed the contract 08.
Wow.
So I was like flipping out that I never remember dates, but that was a good look. It was 08.
Wow.
What's today's date?
The 9th.
09.
So just yesterday.
It was 2 years ago yesterday. That's
2 years already.
It was 2 years ago yesterday.
3 years.
Oh yeah, because it lasted a year. Good
Yeah.
luck. Thank you. It was 3 years ago yesterday. I had moved to Toronto to finish a degree in radio, television, broadcast, and I came back, and it all happened at once. I got into a program at Concordia. I started the TV show and I started modeling. All bam within
Wow.
the same about a week. It was all within the same time frame. How the radio not oh yeah, and I started Morfire. I started radio again.
Morfire Radio,
Right on
online.
CJLO. Right. So it all happened within like the same week or two. And I realized why it happened, and this is maybe my lesson in it, is that I wasn't sure if I should stay in Toronto or come back home.
Okay.
And the minute I made up my mind to come back home, everything happened. So from now on, when my friends are talking to me or somebody's talking to me, they're like, oh, I don't know if I should go, if I should come. I'm like, things aren't going to come to you until you make up your mind first, because, you know, whoever you believe in is not going to reward you, or the universe is not going to reward you with things if you want to be somewhere else.
Right.
You understand? So anyway, so yes, that happened. A friend of mine, she said, I think this girl would be good at this. And so they called me in for the screen test. I was excited. I went super natural. I didn't tell anybody but my mom and one of my sisters. I remember that clearly, because if I didn't get it, I'd feel really crappy.
Smart move.
So I didn't tell anybody. And I went and I did the screen test. And I remember the woman afterwards who became my producer saying to me, have you done this before? And I was like, no, never. And I felt like, why? Like nervous, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, no, because you know what to do. Because she was you know, they put the earpiece in your ear and they're talking you down and they're telling you 5, 4, 3, all these things. And I was good with it. Like I was running through, everything was good to go. So because of all of that, I was all right. And I got the call. I got the call back and I signed my contract 08. That was it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And since then, you know, so-called, we all, you know, watched you and bringing us the events, bringing us, you know, people in the community,
Yeah.
you know, with the being positive, or,
Yeah.
you know, starting a business. And we actually we had a chance to be,
Right.
you know,
it was a
on
good
with
look. You guys
and
did really, really good that day.
you really, you know, inspired us. And what happened to Soul Call?
Not only Soul Call, the entire station itself was sold. So
Okay.
it's no longer CH, a brand of Global. It's now a station purchased by an Ontarian company.
Okay.
So it's being rebranded and reforecasted and revamped. Exactly, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. And I don't really know what the content's going to be. I don't know who they're going to be using. I don't know anything besides the fact that they're still playing reruns.
Right.
Because, like you mentioned before during break, that you can still see it.
Yeah,
So
it's still nice to see, to go and
so
support
you
it.
can
and
still see me from time to time on that. I'm putting it out there that that's what I want to continue doing. So I'm hoping that when they are back on air and they're shooting, that they think of me.
Okay. Tell us more about your modeling experience, because I find that fascinating.
So I never expected that in my entire life. That's the last thing I thought. I never would expect myself to be a model, like ever. But it's been a really fruitful and ambitious thing. I am a plus size model. I've been the only ethnic or West Indian, I don't know how you want to word it, model on the roster for my specific agency for the past 4 years. 4 years, something like this. So it's a really great look. I have steady work, and it's not always in front of people. Sometimes it's, you know, it's just with myself in a company or whatever. But it's really great, and it also helps me when I'm working with kids. And this doesn't, I hope it sounds right, but when you're talking to a whole bunch of little girls, I mean younger girls who are very impressionable, and you're telling them that they're perfect the way they are. When I was that little girl, I didn't feel that way. So to show them that, you know what, I can make money being me. I'm healthy. You know, I'm not unhealthy. I'm thick. I'm not unhealthy. There's a difference. So if I'm able to be me and make money off of it, why do you have to change who you are? Why do you have to feel like you're not good enough? Like, that doesn't work. So it makes me feel really great when I'm working with these girls. And like the biggest lesson I was ever taught, I was working with these girls, and one of them said, Miss, why do you always say you're a plus size model? Why can't you just be a model? And I was like, dude, how do you answer that? Because she was right. She was completely right. It was just still a battle within me to say that, you know, we can do it like that.
Before we get to break, I want to know, has a media personality. Do you feel that plus size models, do you feel they're accepted now? Is it more talked about? Are we on our way? Where are we as
more
media?
so now than before. It still has a long way to go. Specifically in Quebec, we're still a very one look, one type of model. Even if it's for plus size, they still look the same. So we're kind of breaking new ground, and we're breaking into new territory, and it's awesome, but it also helps to reflect the communities. And we're bigger by nature, not only because we're unhealthy. I think we're healthier in some respects, but different backgrounds were bigger by genetic. So we need to reflect that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think it's coming together. I think it's coming together slowly but surely. And I'm really grateful that, they're banning zero size models in certain areas because that's unhealthy. And that's really, really scary to see that that's what some people are idolizing for. And they're killing themselves to do it. So if we can just raise the standard to being more normal, then I think everybody would be okay.
We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
There's another project that Mama Z has, and she's going to talk to us about it. It's coming up right here on Soul Perspectives.
CKUT 94.